In this tutorial, I am going to show you how you can create and set up a virtual environment from scratch in your VS Code. I will create the virtual environment from scratch and we will try to run a Python project or a Python normal script inside that virtual environment. The whole step is super easy. Let me just walk you through the structure here. So inside Sunny, so basically I have a pretty defined folder structure. I always try to keep my code pretty simple and in a structured way. So I'm going to create a new folder here. So I will be naming this folder as test1 environment, just a unique name, so that I can delete it later on. So what I'm going to do inside this folder, I'm going to create the virtual environment which we will be using throughout our project. So what I will do now, I will open my VS Code here, and inside this VS Code I am going to use this folder as my top label. Yes, I trust the author. I am the author here. So yeah. So let me just create a basic test script here. This is just to test whether my system has Python installed or not. So if your system doesn't has Python installed, this will give you an error itself. So test.py, this is a sampler script which I have written. It's just blank file, blank Python file. So the moment if my system has the Python installed, it will directly read that from the global installed version. You will see here at downside here, it is saying it's Python, and this is the Python version which has been used, and this is the location. This is the location of my Python user bin Python 3. But I don't want to use this Python version. I want everything to be custom. So what I will do, I will create a virtual environment inside this project or inside this folder itself. It's super easy to do it. You click here and you see here, click create virtual environment. Now you click here. And what I want to do, I want to create a virtual environment in the current workspace. I don't want a Conda environment. Also, you can use Conda environment as well. But for simplicity, let's just say I am only interested in creating a virtual environment which I'm going to use throughout this project. So this is the moment you click here and which version of Python you are going to use. So these are different versions of Python installed in my system itself. I am going to use Python 3.3. So let me just click it there and that's it. Everything will be done by the Visual Code and the backend for you. It's super easy. So the newer version of VS Code have this feature. If you don't have a newer version, please install it. It's really helpful, this feature. So it has created .venv here. So this is our virtual environment. Now let me just try to run it. Just not run it. I mean, I'm just trying to print a sample thing here. Just let me print my name, print Sunny. So let me run it in a dedicated terminal. There you go. So the moment I run, Sunny has printed, and this is how we determine whether the environment has been activated or not. You see .venv base. That means this environment has already been activated. So this is the beauty of VS Code. The moment you create the virtual environment, the editor is intelligent enough to activate the environment. And whenever you run the script inside this environment, it will directly fetch it from there. There is one more way you can create the environment, which I'm going to show you in later part of the video, but let's just stick to it. Now in this environment, suppose I want to install a lot of libraries. There is one way to do it. I can use pip install numpy. Suppose I want to install numpy. The moment I do it, it will install the numpy in this virtual environment. But I have in a big project, I will have hundreds of libraries to install. Every time I cannot do in pip install this. The ideal way is to do, this is how we create it. We create a requirement file. This will be a text file which contains all the libraries which we need. Suppose I'm going to need numpy. I'm going to need langchain. I'm going to need, what is numpy? Not numpy has already been installed. I'm going to use pandas. Perfect. So let's suppose these are the three libraries we need. Let me add my library here as well, just for simplicity. So I have published my own package on pyorg. Let me just copy that and paste it here. Simplify. Perfect. So there is the package. So the name of the package is iSimplify. Let me just copy the name from here. It's super easy. So this is how you copy from there, and I will paste the name here. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do, I will just save it. I simplify pandas, langchain and numpy. These are the 4 libraries I want to install. Now what I will do, I will do pip install -r stand for requirements, from where you are going to install the requirements.txt file, and enter. That's it. So this is in one go, it will install all the libraries whichever we have specified there. This is super easy and super clean. This is the most ideal way to keep track of all the libraries you are going to use in your project. So this is one way to create a virtual environment and use that virtual environment in your VS Code. There is one more way to create and use the virtual environment, that is through command prompt. In this part of the video, I'm going to show you how you can create virtual environment using your terminal or command prompt in your Windows. So I'm using Mac here, so I'm going to use my terminal. So this is the environment which we have created last time, test1 env. So inside this, the virtual environment is hidden. If you want to see it, this is how you can see it. That's the .venv, that's one we have created. Let me hide it. Now we are trying to create a virtual environment through command prompt or terminal. So now let me try to create a new folder here, and inside this new folder, let me name this new folder as test2env. What I'm going to do, inside this folder, I'm going to create a new virtual environment using my command prompt. So let me open this inside my terminal. You see here, new terminal at the folder. This is the shortcut you can use in your Mac. So inside this, the command to create a virtual environment there is Python, and whichever version of Python you want to use. I'm going to use Python 3. So Python 3 -m venv create virtual environment with the name of my venv. That's super easy. You just press enter and it will create the virtual environment inside the folder. Now let me go back to the folder and show you. See, it has created my venv with bin and all the libraries included. The same environment can be used in Visual Studio as well. So let me show you how you can use the same environment in Visual Studio Code. So let me create a new window here. What you can do, you can just drag and drop this folder here. Trust the author. Perfect. So this is the parent folder, test2 environment. Inside test2 environment, I have my environment. Let me create a sample Python file. Let's name it test.py. Perfect. So once you create this Python test script, by default, this my env will be activated. Now, how do you verify this has been activated or not? There are 2 ways to do it. You can go to the terminal and it will show you that my virtual environment has been activated. This is a quick way to test it. Also, there is one more way to cross verify whether this particular environment has been activated or not. You see here Python 3.12. This is the version which we have used, and here it is showing my env. This is the virtual environment which has been activated. Or by any chance you don't want to use this virtual environment, you can just click here and you can select whichever virtual environment you want to use, or whichever Python version suits your project. This is super easy. Again, let me just cross this. Again, if inside this virtual environment, if you want to install as many libraries as you need, the step would be same, which I showed you last time. You just create a requirement file here. A requirement.txt file, and inside you can say whatever you want. Suppose I need pandas, then I need numpy. What else I need? Let's suppose I need only these 2. So I will follow the same process. Pip install -r. Where should I install it from? I'm installing it from requirements. So requirements.txt, and enter. It's super easy. So that's how you create a virtual environment using terminal, and that's how you can use it inside your VS Code. So I have showed you 2 ways how you can create the virtual environment and use it. Depending on the project and Python version you are going to use, you can specify exact Python version in your virtual environment. So this way it's easy to segregate. Suppose if one project needs Python 3 and another project needs Python 2, This is how you can tackle both projects and run both of them. I hope you have learned something in this video. See you in next part.